Morning. So great to have you with us this morning. Let's all rise in body or spirit and sing together about the wonderful beauty of the earth and welcome in all the people that are coming at this time. We're so glad you're here with us.
Good morning. And welcome to our Sunday service. If you're with us on Zoom or you're with us in the room, we are glad you're here. Happy September to you. And happy Labor Day, which is tomorrow. I'm Roger Jones, and I'm happy to work here at UUSS as one of your ministers, along with my co-ministry colleague, the Reverend Lucy Bunch. Today, we are grateful for the participation of staff members, our religious education coordinator, Crystal Fountain, pianist Irina Tchantceva, and our facility staff and our audiovisual staff. Anthony Tavianini will be back this Wednesday night in time for choir practice, and you are invited to join them. Also supporting this service today are our volunteers, Andy Kramer and Fred Pannek, Erica Kraft, and Meg Burnett. If you are new to UUSS, we extend a special welcome to you. Please fill out a newcomer's card, which you can find using the link on our website, or you can find it at the welcome table after the service. That will help us connect with you. Our weekly message will come to you by email every Friday, and you can find previous ones on the ministers section on the website. If you'd like to follow today's order of service, a printed copy is on the back table, right there by the doors, or you can click the link in our Zoom chat. And also back there on the table is the blue sheet, which is a weekly calendar of activities as well as upcoming events and invitations. It's also on the back table, and it's clickable online. And here are a few highlights from the blue sheet. The Art Exhibit Committee reminds all of our amateur and professional artists in the congregation about the group show, the UUSS group show, that's going to take place right here on these walls. There is still some room for more works of art, but please, the committee has been inundated by submissions of portraits of the ministers. So no more of those. We cannot afford to insure them. So if you have some other kind of work, pick up a flyer at the connections table today or find the article in the blue sheet. And your submission deadline is next Sunday. Next Sunday is important for another big reason. First, we have our annual in-gathering service to launch a new church program year. It's a circle service for all ages, which includes our beloved ritual of the gathering of the waters. And you may feel free to bring a small vessel of water from a place or an activity that has been special to you. And after that service, right after that service, is our activity fair, an annual event. Under the covered patio, outside those doors, dozens of UUSS activity groups, teams, and committees will be staffing tables to answer questions, to meet you and get to know you, and to tell you about opportunities to build community through shared interest and through volunteer service. Next Sunday only. And speaking of building community, Reverend Lucy and I hope that you will consider joining a small group through our program known as Soul Matters. Starting this month, each group will meet twice a month, either in person or on Zoom. And if you have experience in one and you would recommend participating in a small group here, would you type that in the chat, or if you're in the room, would you raise your hand so people can see how many people have participated in these small groups? Keep your hands up so people can see. Okay, thank you. Soul Matters is intended for people who are new to UUSS and longtime members as well. Debbie Powell, are you here? Debbie's right there. And Debbie will be on the patio to answer your questions and give you registration information after the service, but you can look up Soul Matters on the website too. The deadline to register is tomorrow. So many people have been helping out with our nonpartisan voter mobilization project called UU the Vote, and we are inspired and grateful. You are invited to stop by the table. Is it on the patio?
Yep, right there.
Right out there, okay. On the patio after the service to see how you can encourage citizens in other states to cast their votes in November. Barbara Dace and Pat Skeels, are you in the room? There's Barbara. Pat is a greeter, so she may be outside the room, but they will be there, and Barbara has 1,000 more postcards to give out in stacks of 20 or 40, along with instructions and stamps if you need them. We'll be sending postcards to voters in Georgia through Reclaim Our Vote. You can pick up a flyer which talks about, at the table you can pick up a flyer which talks about the volunteer opportunities for phoning and texting voters as Election Day approaches. So, after the service, we hope that everyone will linger and join us in the welcome hall and on the patio for coffee, tea, and conversation. And if you're attending by Zoom, after the service, we will have 22 minutes of conversation in a small breakout room, so we hope you stay and get acquainted. Now, please check your phone to be sure it's on silent mode and that all alarms are off. We do this to assist everyone to be more present and mindful in the service. And if a neighbor's device goes off during the service and you're near them, please help them in solving the problem. Please extend that kindness. During the music for centering, you're invited to come forward to light a candle of joy, sorrow, or hope, and fill out a prayer card to let the ministers know of your news and let us know whether it may be included in the spoken joys and concerns. Now let us receive the music for centering.
Our chalice lighter this morning is William. The symbol of the flaming chalice represents our broader Unitarian Universalist religious heritage. And as we light it this morning, we affirm our connections to congregations across the country and around the world. Please respond in unison to the words in bold. We kindle this flame, the symbol of our sacred search for truth and understanding. In times of celebration, may its brightness reflect our gratitude. In times of need, let its warmth renew our connections to one another and the spirit of life. In times of confusion and uncertainty, may its fire bring us courage and commitment. In times of change, let its light illuminate our values. Let us join in reciting the mission statement of this congregation. We come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world.
A new school year is beginning, and we have a ritual to mark this milestone. In this congregation, among us are younger children starting school for the first time or starting a new year. There are teenagers and youth starting a new year of middle school, high school, GED programs, and early college. There are students in college, vocational schools, and graduate programs. Of course, a school community is made up also of workers, and we salute them too, the teachers, professors, classroom assistants, and support staff. We give our thanks to the bus drivers, cafeteria workers, custodians, counselors, and everybody else. So in recognition of this new school year, we have invited you to bring your backpack to the service for a blessing. Depending on your situation, you might have brought a briefcase or a lunchbox, or a laptop or a gym bag or a keychain, whatever it might be that represents your life at school. So we invite you to come forward now, and we will ask you to tell us your name and where you are starting your new school year. And it could be that you have an invisible backpack with you, and that's fine. So we invite you to come up and line up here on the first step, or so come on, of any age. And if you would rather not, that's okay. You can pick up your token after the service. So line up on the right there. So this is for students at any level, and it's for school workers at any role. And you are welcome to bring a family member up here with you if that would be helpful. So come on up. And if you're on Zoom with us, please type your name and your school and your role into the chat. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to tell us your name and where you're starting a new school year.
Hi, I'm Anita, and I'm a substitute teacher for the San Juan Unified School District.
I'm Christy Brazil, and I'll be starting another year with the Renaissance Society as a lifelong learner.
What's your name?
Luna.
And what grade are you starting?
First grade.
At where?
Caber Tights.
There you go.
First grade.
I'm William Shields. I'm starting in fourth grade, 8 at CMP Carmichael.
My name's Greg, and I'm in 45th grade. I'm a part-time professor of German at Sac State, and I'm also subbing at Sacramento Country Day.
My name's Bronte Byerly. I'm in 7th grade at Carnegie Andrew Middle School.
I'm Erin Byerly, and I'm at San Jose State University getting a master's.
My name is Lily Campbell. I started school on August 7th, 2024. Blessed be.
Thank you. You stay here.
I'm Edra and I'm homeschooled.
Fletcher. Yes, just like Edra.
I am Archer and I'm homeschooled.
I'm Sean, and I'm in my 3rd year at Lincoln Law School.
Jen Dadick, 5th grade teacher, Sacramento Waldorf School.
I'm Zorro, and I'm in 6th grade at Pioneer Elementary School.
I'm Monica and I'm in 6th grade at Del Deo.
I'm Bridget, and I'm a 5th grader at Oligat Elementary.
I'm Zach, and I'm in 8th grade at Da Vinci Junior High.
I'm Sierra. I start preschool.
I'm Sierra, and I start preschool.
This is Charles. He started 4th grade at Spring Lake Elementary.
I'm James, and I started freshman at Pioneer High School.
I'm Renee. Even though I thought I was retiring after 32 years in public ed, the Leadership Institute at the County Office of Ed has me as a mentor and a coach for future administrators and current principals.
I'm Mary, and I'm taking concertina lessons at the Online Academy of Irish Music.
Hi, I'm another Mary. I'm back at the Renaissance Society.
I'm Ralph, and I sub in Sac City Unified.
Hi, I'm Aubrey and I'm in 4th grade at Marymount Elementary School. Hi, I'm Nellie and I'm in 2nd grade at Marymount Elementary.
I'm Jenny, and I'm a mom.
So our tokens come in 2 types. If you haven't grabbed one, you can grab one after service. A magnet to put on your fridge, locker, or filing cabinet, or a little plushy heart that you can carry in your backpack or other equipment to bring our love with you wherever you go. Let it remind you that you carry the goodwill and good wishes of our spiritual community as you work and learn this year. We wish you well as you start this new school year, and we thank you for the work you are doing, whether as a student, teacher, or any other kind of person in a school community. We send our prayers to you on the bus, in the hallway, in the cafeteria, or on the playground. We bless you in the classroom, in the office, at your homeschooling location, or in any online computer platform where you go to school.
Else here, please reach out your hands in a gesture of blessing towards every person starting school. Everyone in this room and everyone on Zoom who is starting a new school year. And now let us join together in speaking the words on the slide. We bless you on this new school year. When you need strength and courage, remember that we love you. We are cheering you on.
When you need, we're not done yet, although I know you're cheering them on. When you need care, tenderness, and understanding, remember that we love you.
When you need a listening ear, may we listen in a way that lets you feel heard.
Whether you are a student at a school or a worker in one, may you remember to play, laugh, sing, and make friends.
For everyone here, may we remember that learning is a lifelong journey and it can happen in any moment, in any place. Now let us join in saying together the words on the final slide.
Wherever you go, remember to bring love. Wherever you go, remember that you are loved. Blessings on this new year for you.
So our religious education program this summer is called Artworks for Peace, and it's about to start. And so we will sing out our volunteers and staff and kids and youth who would like to participate today.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Oh, let's all take a deep breath together. Oh, blessing is hard work, isn't it? It's good to be together this morning. Let us be present together for our lives and for all that make our lives rich and good. And let us offer support to all those who are having challenges and difficulties on this day. We grow in our resilience as we learn to live fully with both the joy and the despair, the challenges and the opportunities of life. This community is a source of strength and resilience. Let us hear the words of celebration or sorrow from the members of our community. Terry Ray is home from the hospital after a challenging and painful week. She is resting well and planning her next adventure, so watch out. Joanne Anglin is grieving the loss of her longtime friend, Sandy Wasserman, an artist, a fellow poet, and a very generous human being. Lester Snow has a great joy to share with us. The last task of removing 4 dams on the Klamath River was completed last week. The project was a multi-decade effort to restore natural river flows and hundreds of miles of salmon habitat. But most importantly, it restores the cultural and spiritual heritage of the Klamath River indigenous communities, especially the Yurok-Karuk tribes, who have worked tirelessly for generations to reclaim their river. Amen. So we have a nice group of cards that people have shared and lit candles for us this morning. Jeannie is sharing a joy that they are making progress on their home addition with no broken bones. Yes. Jen and Amy are sharing their sorrow at the loss of their beloved dog, Chloe. Edra wants us to know that she is very excited to have her first loose tooth. Sean wants us to know about his award in moot court. Excited to have started a new year in law at Lincoln Law School. One among us is offering continued healing thoughts and prayers for Sarah Patton. Fletcher wants us to know that his tooth fell out. Man, those fountains are having tooth issues this month. Another among us is remembering Fran Kennedy, who passed away August 31st, 2021. Another among us is telling us of the passing of Alan Lazar, husband of our longtime organist and pianist, Barbara Lazar. He was 88 years old. Oh, somebody's sharing with us about Carrie Ray. John is repeating the Terry Ray gratitude that she's home. And yep, yay, Terry. Patrick and Annette have two joys, that their grandson Leon is 1 year old, and that they sold their rental properties and have unencumbered themselves. Another among us is holding the family of Johnny and Matt Gaudreau in their mind. with an awareness that life is fragile. Bridget wants us to know that school just started. Another among us is cherishing Taylor Lewis's contribution to our lives. Greg is asking for a prayer for our sister Ann Redmond that she may have improved health. David is sharing that their mother Margaret passed away at 102 years of age last Sunday. They say she was a great mom and will be missed. Lynn would like to share her joy that her grandsons are wildland firefighters and now in Washington and another one in Arizona. Sarah is sharing both a joy and a sorrow, joy at having a wonderful, healthy boy, now a toddler, and sad that their realization that for many reasons they cannot handle having another child. And Barbara is sharing with us that their younger cousin died unexpectedly. Oh, let us hear and hold in our hearts all the joys and sorrows that have been shared this morning, and let us know that there are many joys and sorrows that remain unspoken. Let's take a couple of deep breaths together. And let's let the next one out with a sigh. And let us pray. Spirit of life, eternal source of wonder and mystery, receive the meditations on our hearts this day. We come to this space with the challenges and sorrows of our lives ringing our thoughts, all that we have left undone, our relationships that may be frayed or fraught, the pressures of life, work, home, the world, hunching our spirits and bringing us down. Beyond these walls, there is so much outside of our control. Let us just leave it all there for a moment. Holy Spirit, help us stay grounded. Help us to feel gratitude in our hearts for all the things that make our lives good and real, for friendship and love, for community, for our beautiful earth, and the power of interconnection that holds and sustains us all. Let us remember to hold on to what is hopeful, what is life-giving, and respond with commitment to the forces that would choose to tear things down. Give us the courage to offer the best of ourselves to the world, one prayer at a time, one declaration of hope at a time, one act of justice at a time, one expression of compassion at a time. May we embrace today and in all the days to come the wisdom that love is enough, care is enough, patience and service are enough. Blessed be. In the quiet and the silence that follows, may we find peace and connection to ourselves, to those we love, and to the greater web of life that surrounds and sustains us. Amen. Let us remain seated and sing together, "We Would Be One."
The hymn we just sang was set to music by Sibelius with words by the Reverend Sam Wright. In 1954, 70 years ago, he wrote that hymn to celebrate the consolidation of the national youth organizations of the Unitarian and Universalist denominations. This merger happened 8 years before the merger of the two denominations took place. When the youth groups merged, the new organization took the name Liberal Religious Youth. Today's service title is The Work of the Heart, Our Whole Life Long, and it's about our shared ministry with children, youth, and families. There's a slight change from the printed order of service because the sermon will be in 2 parts, and this is part 1. Ready? Many children and youth grow up in UU congregations, but relatively few of them participate in congregations as adults. This is true across many faith traditions, especially the liberal ones. Religious participation is in decline in America, and each generation is less involved than the one before. Yet across our denomination, this can lead to anxious questions. What are we doing wrong? How can we hang on to more of our young people? I think these are the wrong questions to ask. Rather than asking, how can we hang on to them for the future, we can ask, what is the purpose of our ministry to families and children? What are we doing here? What are we doing right now? Let us ask ourselves, are we preparing to receive the families, children, and youth who long for a place to belong, to be known, and to grow together? How do we greet those who come seeking a real community right now? And how do we greet and listen to one another? Recently, I read a fascinating article about the history of a progressive congregation in a neighborhood of Washington, D.C. The author, Celeste Kendall-Shank, grew up in that church. It was founded as a mission church by a Lutheran denomination. It started in 1965. Its organizing leaders wanted it to be an ecumenical, inclusive, caring, justice-oriented community. As I read her story about that liberal congregation, I heard echoes of some of our Unitarian Universalist experiences. See if you hear similarities also. She had attended a reunion of people who had grown up in that church in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Even though many of them had never met before because of the different generations they were from, as adults now they felt a kinship with each other over that congregation's enduring values and traditions. They treasured the way it had shaped their lives. However, she says, only a half dozen of them were participating any longer in any kind of congregation. She was astounded. How could a loving community so grounded in living out progressive Christian values not yield lifelong churchgoers? Her question led her to interview many of them over several months. Kendall-Shank writes, I braced myself for the possibility that I might unearth stories of deep wounding caused by the community. But there were no stories of spiritual harm. Quite the contrary. I felt loved and supported every Sunday, one woman told me. I could find other adults that were not my mom and dad who I could go to and talk to about stuff that was going on in my life. The youth group there felt like a safe space, she said, as did the worship services. The church had held services in a building which it operated as a neighborhood center. It was a real-life example of living out the call to social justice and loving our neighbors. One person recalled the sharing of joys and sorrows in the life of the congregation as a teaching moment. She said, There was a lot of space around sadness in our community. There was never a numbing of it or a fleeing from it. Other people recalled singing together as their most powerful memories from childhood. They will never forget some of the hymns they learned, nor the feelings that the music evoked in them. She writes, "Several people told me about how they had looked forward to Sundays, to going to church as children, and how their early formation in that community shaped their eventual vocation. In their memories, it was an ideal church. Perhaps it had seemed to be too ideal. Some people told her that the church of their childhood had spoiled them for other churches when they grew up and moved away. Moreover, as adults, their lives were very busy. It was hard to make time to look for a church and to make a home there. If it didn't match their strong memories of a beloved community, they didn't take the time to stick around." As an adult, the author herself has attended various congregations over the years, and she admits that she has always found something lacking in any congregation that she's joined. Yet, unlike most of the others, she did continue to participate. American religious historian David Hollinger has provided an understandable explanation of the decline in religious participation by adults who grew up in liberal congregations. He writes, "Parents were likely to encourage children to explore their world and to make their own decisions about it. And they did just that. They took advantage of expanding opportunities to form communities beyond the churches. Indeed, in her interviews with adults who had grown up in her church, Celeste Kennelshank learned that most of them were continuing to find community and create it in other ways and other places. I trust that the same thing is happening in the lives of many of the young people who grew up in UU congregations. I know it is actually because their parents tell me about it when they're here at UUSS, and it is a source of joy to me. Perhaps the purpose of our ministry to children and youth is to plant the seeds about the value of a genuine community throughout one's life. I'm happy to know plenty of middle-aged and young adults who grew up as UUs and who not only stayed in the faith, but also entered our ministry. Some of their names are Parisa, Lucas, Marcus, Hank, Allison, Susan, and Kristen. Our ministerial intern here at UUSS last year was Rosemary, who grew up in the Petaluma congregation and is now serving a parish in Massachusetts. A Unitarian Universalist upbringing has no doubt inspired these ministers. But keep in mind, it has also shaped the values of UU children who grew up to be scientists, teachers, artists, civil servants, factory workers, members of the military, and all other occupations. A community like this one touches people who grow up to be good spouses and parents, good neighbors, volunteers, and leaders in community organizations. It is my hope that people growing up here will remember that they have been loved here. Remember that they have been welcomed for who they are. Remember that their questions have been respected. This is what we are doing here. They will remember that they had fun with people of all ages. They will appreciate that people outside of their families cared about them and knew who they were. This is a hope, and it is a call to continue building a caring community here. So may it be. Blessed be, and amen. We will have reflection, and after that we will have a gift of music. Last March, Fred Pannek became a member of this congregation, and I've asked Fred to talk about the experience of being a UU, a lifelong UU.
Better without these. Good morning. My name is Fred, and I'm a lifelong Unitarian Universalist. That is to say, a few years before my birth, my parents left the Roman Catholic Church and embraced Unitarian Universalism. I do not recall this, but the family legend states that as an infant, I was named at the Third Unitarian Universalist Church of Chicago, and thus began my UU experience. To be clear, I have not always been an active member of a UU congregation, but Unitarian Universalism has been a source of strength, comfort, and community that has nurtured me throughout my life. My earliest recollection of church life is attending the Sunday school program at Chicago's Third Church. In the 1960s at Third Church, children did not regularly attend Sunday service. Upon arriving at church, my mother would usher me off to the appropriate classroom, and later we would reunite in the Friendship Hall after the service. In my grammar school years, I was often not enthusiastic about Sunday school. I was a shy kid who did not make friends easily. I never had contact with any of these kids outside of church, and I often felt alone and out of place. However, I have always been grateful for the exposure to other religions and cultures that Sunday school provided. We would learn about Protestant faiths, Judaism, Buddhism, Islamic traditions, and often visited other churches, temples, and synagogues. It was during my high school years that I found a home and a sense of belonging in the UU community. I was still shy. I was a nerd. I was not athletic or interested in sports, and high school was a very challenging, anxiety-filled experience. About this time, Don Wheat was called to be our new minister, and for some reason, Reverend Wheat took an interest in me, and he gently coaxed me to join the high school group, Liberal Religious Youth. Within LRY, I found acceptance, made dear friends, gained confidence, became a leader. I was no longer an outcast. I was no longer alone. It was the 60s. We were activists. We went to protest. We organized weekend sleepover conferences. We experienced life. It was the 60s. This experience and this group of young people shaped the rest of my life. I can say that at Third Church and LRY, I found myself. As college approached, my immediate family moved to San Diego, and the First UU Church of San Diego became an important force in our lives. My parents and my sister's family were very active in church, while I attended services sporadically. But at First Church, my family found a spiritual home. I was married there, children named there, life celebrations held there. Later, after I divorced and came out as a gay man, my parents found community and support at First Church's Gay-Straight Alliance. For many years, I did not find a UU home. Life events, pressures of family, building a business, and constant business travel, I drifted away from church life. For a long time, I sought solitary resolutions to questions of beliefs and faith. I sought out other paths, attending a Metropolitan Community Church, United Methodist Church, and others, but nothing fit. The years passed, and now I am recently retired, newly settled in Sacramento, and happy to be close to my daughter, son-in-law, and my favorite human, my grandson, William. As I settled into life in Sacramento, I felt a longing for a larger community, a spiritual home. Last fall, I began attending services with you and quickly found the comfort and support of this caring community of like-minded truth seekers. I have found a new liberal religious youth. I have found home again. And I want to thank you for welcoming me to this community.
I'm Andy Kramer. I am not a lifelong UU, but I am a longtime UU, and I'm the father of two. Thank you. In late 2001, my former wife and I moved to the Sierra foothills between Auburn and Colfax. We had a nearly 2-year-old daughter, Carly, and a few months later, we welcomed our second daughter, Madeline. Not long after Madeline was born, my wife started taking Carly to the UU church in Auburn while I stayed home with the baby. Over time, we all started attending the church, and the girls went to the RE program. Admittedly, it did become harder to get them to attend church once they were in high school. Between multiple sports teams and heavy course load at school, there were competing demands on their time. And by then, their mom and I were divorced, and while she still lived in the area, she had stopped attending the church herself. But the girls would still attend on the occasional Sunday, often attending the service with me instead of going to RE. They are young adults now. Madeline is 22 and living in Santa Barbara, where she recently graduated, and Carly is 24 and lives in the Bay Area with her boyfriend. I asked them what their takeaways were from their time growing up in a UU church. Here are the responses in their words. Madeline first answers the question, what is the purpose of our ministry to children and families? She says, the purpose is to raise good people, raise people who care about others, treat them with compassion and respect, and see their inherent worth and dignity. If we were only to put our children in RE with the hope that they would become lifelong UUs, that itself would contradict the principle of an individual search for truth and meaning. She continues, I have some bad memories of going to church as a kid. Do I really have to wake up this early on my one day to sleep in? I have no belief in any God that would be mad at me for not going to church, so what's the point of all this? She was always looking for an out. However, the culmination of my days in RE certainly shaped my moral compass and the way I interact with the world daily. That's the good thing about the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. It has allowed me to discover and develop my values in line with my experiences I've had. As I've begun working in healthcare this past year, I feel my everyday work is an opportunity to live or not live my UU values. It's easy to rattle off the 7 principles, but it feels different to apply them when being spit at, swung at, and peed on. I can choose to see and recognize the inherent worth and dignity in every patient. I can choose to put justice, equity, and compassion at the forefront of what I do. I can choose to treat each patient with acceptance and respect. It's easier to make these choices, having had them reinforced Sunday after Sunday, year after year, in the formative years of my life. It becomes less like a choice and more like second nature. I'm thankful to have grown up in the UU church, and I'm thankful for the community the congregation provided, as well as the many people who volunteered their time, energy, and talents in RE. It shaped who I became as an adult, even if now I only make it to church once a year. My older daughter, Carly, wrote this. I do not attend church as an adult, but the lessons I learned through RE have been central to my values throughout my life. I grew up in the area where progressive values were not the norm, and it was at times very isolating to myself and my close friends who didn't fit into the mold. RE gave me a broader view of the world and reassured me that hate does not have to be the status quo. I developed a passion for politics, which I largely credit to my involvement in the UU community at a young age. I studied political science in college and now work in a role where I get to advance progressive policies every day. Even beyond that, growing up in the wake of the terrorist attacks of September 11, I remember a great deal of hate towards the Muslim community or anyone who might be mistaken for Muslim. Many of my peers were taught to believe that Islam is a religion purely of hate and treated others accordingly. Having the opportunity to learn about Islam and other faiths, visit various houses of worship, and partake in interfaith efforts to help our shared community was essential to the development of my view of the world. I don't know if I will ever regularly attend church again. Life is so busy, and I have found a broader community that shares my values. But I am still grateful to have participated in RE, and I identify myself as UU. When I share about my history with religion, my friends are shocked by programs like Our Whole Lives for sexuality education that were so different from their abstinence-only, purity-focused experiences. I truly believe that Unitarian Universalism is a beautiful community that I consider myself lucky to be part of. I'm grateful for my daughters sharing their thoughts about growing up UU. Like most parents, I wanted my daughters to grow up to be healthy and happy adults and basically be good people. When my girls were little, I remember watching the teens in the church community. My girls loved spending time with the older kids, and that affection was returned. In later years, my girls filled that role for the younger kids that followed them. In those early days, I remember thinking that if my girls turned out like those older kids, I'd be happy with that outcome. Indeed, I am happy and very proud of the young women that they have become. And you can be proud of the programs that UUSS offers to support the development of children and youth. It is through those programs and our relationships with the children and youth that collectively we demonstrate and teach our values centered in love.
Our congregation's mission statement says that we come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. We live out this mission in many ways, including the practice of generosity. We give half of every Sunday's offering to a local organization that is fulfilling our mission in the world. Our community partner for the month of September is the River City Food Bank. Every weekday, River City provides fresh, healthy food with choices reflecting the cultural diversity of this area. It provides emergency food and non-food items at its locations in Midtown and here in Arden Arcade, serving lifelong Sacramento residents, as well as new immigrants and refugees. To address childhood hunger, it provides healthy snacks to schools. It helps families enroll in the CalFresh programs for assistance. And it assists those who are unhoused or just barely hanging on. Thank you for your generosity to our community partner. On the slide and in the Zoom chat, you can see how you can contribute electronically or by mailing a check here at UUSS. This morning's offering will now be given and received. As the ushers bring forward our offering, please join me in our unison response. May generosity bless our world, and may gratitude nourish our spirits.
The second half of the sermon is shorter. In spite of the word education in the term religious education, what we do in RE is not school. The kids have made it clear they don't want that. Yet we do learn things. Children, youth, and adults learn things when they create community together, even though it may not be an orderly collection of information or facts. In the life of a congregation, everything we do can teach us and shape us, no matter our age or stage of life. Next Sunday during our activity fair out there, you are invited to wander over to the religious education display across the meadow outside the other building. Not only will there be some outdoor games and popcorn, there will also be an opportunity to ask questions and learn about our curricula in religious education. You are invited no matter your age or family situation. It is worth emphasizing that the first and most important religious educators of any child are the child's parents and grandparents. A church is here to support them in that endeavor. More than one parent has told me that they come here because they want their kids to see their family's ethical values affirmed, spoken, and modeled by other adults. We aspire to be a place that nurtures the well-being of the parents and the other adults in a child's life. Earlier, Fred told us of some of the special moments of his life as a UU, especially the kind attention of a minister who recognized him as a young person with his own gifts, needs, and potential. Fred was not merely the child of a member. Of course, our ministers and staff at UUSS endeavor to know the youth and children of our community, but we share this calling with all of you. Anybody can say good morning to a child or youth. Any of us can greet a child or introduce ourselves to the adults in their life. Such gestures of recognition are another part of how a congregation can teach and shape all of us at any age or stage of life. Earlier in the service, we conducted a blessing for the start of a new school year, including students of any age, as well as adults who serve in education. And this might have seemed like a moment of special attention on an important annual threshold. It is, but the deeper message of that blessing lies in the words we spoke. We are cheering you on. You are loved. When you are at school, we still care about you. We hold you in our hearts all the time, not only on the days when we see you in church. You are loved when you're here and when you're away. You are loved when you grow up and live your life as an adult. We wish the best for you. This is why we all do the work of building a spiritual community. It is the work of connection, respect, mutual dependence, challenge, and stretching ourselves beyond our comfort zones. This work lasts our whole life long. The work of the heart is what we endeavor to do here together. Our ministry to families and children is not about raising a crop of church-going UU adults for the future. It is more like planting seeds. Planting seeds is an act of trust and faith. Unlike a packet of seeds you can buy at the store, there is no reliable picture of how the seed will grow into a plant. There's no guarantee of what form it will take or what fruit it might bear. And as we plant the seeds, we strive to nurture and to care for whatever might grow. We strive to nourish the growth of those among us, not just kids and youth, but all of us. Participation in a religious or spiritual community is not something we can guarantee or control as a child becomes an adult, nor should we try to. But we can plant the seeds. We can tend them with care as we tend our community with joy, patience, respect, courage, gratitude, and love. So may it be. Blessed be, and amen.
Let's all rise and wake now our senses. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as a greater, most stranger and friend. Praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my holy with all who will share. Work toward the planet transformed by our care. Please join me in speaking our chalice extinguishing words. There they are. We extinguish this flame, but carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come.
Please reach out to us as we reach out to you. If you're at home, reach out to us as we reach to you. May you depart in peace and go forward in joy. For all who see God, may God go with you. For all who embrace life, may life return your affection. And for all who seek a right path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step, one day at a time. Blessed be.